Hey everyone, it's your girl Desiree, and I'm back with another live stream. It's not gonna be long because I have to get myself together, but I don't know, it just came from my heart to just talk about this really quickly. Hopefully y'all can hear me. But the whole notion of I deserve better, I mean, it's very popular in society now to hear people saying you deserve better, leave him. And I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, that's why I'm saying him, leave that job, leave that family member, cut off that friend, you know, quit your 9 to 5, do this, do this, do that. And I do agree that a lot of times we do settle, and we settle for things that are beneath what it is that is our potential. But I also believe that sometimes people can leave situations either that were already good situations, or it just wasn't time for them to leave. So, for example, you could be working at a job that's very stressful. I've been at multiple jobs that have been stressful. I have not yet really found a job that I really genuinely say this is my passion. I enjoy it. So I look forward to going. I think, except for maybe one job when I worked at college, but outside of that, it really hasn't really been any jobs that I really have said, like, I really feel inspired, I feel motivated. A lot of times it's been more so like, okay, I gotta do this job to make money. So obviously the goal would be for me to get to a point where I am working in my passion, and also doing things for myself and not relying solely on a job to sustain my living, right? So that's another conversation for another day. But the point was that yes, I have been in those situations where I felt like I don't want to be in this situation anymore. This is draining. I'm not getting, my just due. I'm putting in more work than I feel like I'm getting paid for, and so forth and so forth. But I also had to be realistic with myself and understand that I can't just up and just quit my job without being wise and using discernment. You know what I mean? Because then I'm in a worse position. Now there's abuse or any severe stuff going on at that job. I'm not saying stay. I'm talking about situations where you can stay a little longer, but still make a plan and not just prematurely just jump out of that situation just because you feel like you deserve better. The same thing with friendships, same thing with family. Sometimes we just don't want to deal with people. And it's funny because we don't want to deal with people, but then we want people to be patient, understanding, and give us grace, but we don't want to extend that same grace to other people. So we're quick to cut people off. And once again, like if there's abuse or any extreme stuff going on, I understand. But I'm talking about situations that can be worked out. We live in a society where it's just like, oh, just get another friend, just get another spouse, just get another, when it's like, first of all, marriage is supposed to be till death do you part. So how do you just jump up and just, oh, just because we're just not seeing eye to eye? Like it's just that's just the what's being pushed these days. There's no such thing as working things out, problem solving, conflict resolution, putting egos aside and working through things, even if it's separating for a season to reconvene or whatever the case might be. But everybody just kind of, not everybody, but the consensus is to promote this thing of just throw things away and just get another one. Even when it comes to clothes, I've literally heard people say, like, they buy clothes, and because they don't wanna keep washing the clothes or maintaining, they just throw it away and just get more clothes. I mean, we're a very wasteful society, but it's sad that we've also done that with people. Society, here in America at least, very wasteful with food, just throw food away. If it's spoiled, obviously you throw it away, but we need to be more conscious of how we're wasting food because there are so many people in this country, not just abroad, but there's so many people in this country who don't have food, citizens. You know what I mean? So it's important to not be wasteful of food. It's important to not be wasteful of money and our resources, but it's also sad that sometimes if we're not careful, we can be um that way with people where we just kind of discard people and we're not willing to understand the value that that person brings, that God has blessed us. I hear people say, I don't need nobody, I don't need that person, I don't need you, I just want you. And it's actually very sad, and it's one of the reasons why people are not willing to work things out because they don't feel like they need people. People are disposable, people are replaceable. I can just get another one. But when you see the value of what that person brings to your life, that God has blessed you with that friendship, with that family member, with that spouse, with that person you're dating, I'm not saying, obviously if they're not your spouse, I'm not saying just put your whole life on a line with this person because that's not your spouse. But there still is a level of understanding the value that people bring. It's not just you bringing value to people. It's also people bringing value to you. It's not just, oh, I'm the main character and everybody else is just on the side. No, people also have value as well. And it's sad that we are becoming so narcissistic where we feel like I'm the main one. Everything revolves around me and everybody else is just a side piece, or, they're just passengers on my plane, or you know, they're just what's the word? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but they just kinda on the side just watching my show. This is my show. I'm the one who's um the main, well, I guess I already said it, the main character. So, it's not to say you shouldn't see yourself as valuable. You should have a sense of pride in who you are. But like I said, it's become very narcissistic, and we have to be very careful with that. And some people have quit jobs. Some people have walked away from whole marriages and regretted it. Some people have walked away from their children, or their children have walked away from their parents, or it's just been so many situations. Friendships have been broken. Family members have cut each other off, and people don't see the value because, like I said, they just see people as replaceable, and they don't see the value in in it. You know what I mean? So we have to be careful. We have to have a balance. It's not to say you just sit around and just accept any type of job or any type of experience. No, like sometimes we do have to elevate and go to something that is better for us. But we also have to be realistic, and we also have to be appreciative of what we do have and not just discard things because we're going through a difficult season. Life is full of difficult seasons. You're going to have difficult times in your relationship with people. You're going to have difficult times in your experiences at work. Even when you work for yourself, there's going to be times where you may have a dry spell, or things may not go as you plan, or you may get certain feedback that you don't like. It's always going to be something. Now, if it's constantly something 24/7, they may want to reevaluate what's going on. And another thing too is that just because you're going through a lot of bad things in your situations in life doesn't mean it's always the other person. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes we're the ones who are bringing that situation in the relationship. Sometimes we're the ones that are constantly negative or constantly disrespectful or constantly in our ego or in our pride or whatever. Sometimes it's us, or sometimes it's both people, right? It's not always just them. That goes back to like the narcissistic idea that is everything revolves around me. I'm the best one, and it's always me that's right, and I deserve better, and it's them, they're wrong, and I get rid of them, and I because I deserve better. And it's never like, let me look at myself and make sure that I am also not doing some things in this relationship that may not be right. Let me make sure that there may not be, maybe there's some things that I should have done that I haven't been doing, right? So let me also look at myself too, not just the other person. Let me look at this job. Yeah, I'm complaining the job is stressful, but is there something that I'm supposed to learn in this season at this job? Because when you're really trying to seek and understand what your purpose is, sometimes God has you in jobs or in different experiences that are there to teach you. But if you're constantly just jumping from job to job, from relationship to relationship because you feel like, oh, I deserve better, you're not learning the lesson, because all you're doing is moving from a place of ego. Now, if you've prayed about it, you really sought God, you really ask God, show me, he's giving you signs that he's really put it in your spirit to move on. That's one thing. But a lot of times we're not moving on from that. We're moving on from ego. We're moving on from stress. We're moving on from fear. We're moving on from anger and resentment. It's not based off of just as genuinely discernment, and we know this is our time to move on to something different. So that's something that we have to be careful that we're not just moving from our flesh only. Um, Another thing, and I'm gonna end soon because I have to get off of here soon. But another thing that I want to say is that we have to be careful that we are not we have to understand, we have to remember where we are currently in life too. Oh, I deserve a better man. Are you at the level to get a quote unquote better man? And better man is subjective. Like, what do you view as a better man? A man who makes more money? Because a man who makes more money isn't automatically a better man, because what is his character like, right? So, first of all, you have to ask yourself, is it really better, right? Because you may think it's better because that's what that's being portrayed in society, or that's what you think might be better. If you never had that, or you never grew up around to see what that actually looks like, then how do you know that that's better, right? So that's another thing. You have to ask yourself, is it really better? Also, can I handle, or am I prepared and ready for the quote unquote better thing because maybe it is actually better. Are you ready for that? Well, I want a man who's patient and understanding and kind because I keep attracting men who are not kind and they're not patient and they're very nonchalant. Maybe they're emotionally unavailable. But if I'm emotionally unavailable, I'm not kind, I'm not patient, I'm always in my ego, I'm passive aggressive, and I have all these unhealthy traits. A man like that is not checking for me. And if he is dealing with me, he's not dealing with me on a serious level because he is going to want a woman who's also kind, who also is loving and patient and understanding, right? So, same thing with the job. You want a job that pays much more. Do you have the skills for that type of job? And sometimes you don't really need to have a lot of skills for a higher paying job. It depends on the job. But let's just say it does call for that. Are you putting in the effort? I'm not saying you got to slave yourself and go above and beyond, but are you putting in some level of effort to get the skills that may be able to prepare you for that better type of job that's going to pay you more? Or if you want to be an entrepreneur, are you putting in the work and being consistent so that you can then transition out of working a 9 to 5 and get into an entrepreneurship life? You want to move like me. I personally, I want to move. I want to move for years. But am I planning? Am I putting in the work to plan? And to be honest, I have not been as strategic and as intentional as I should be. So that's something that I have to be honest with myself about. Yeah, I do believe that I deserve better. I don't have to stay in the hood and have to deal with the drama and the filth and the ridiculousness that I have to constantly deal with. I've had to live in the hood since I was a child. So of course I deserve better. I don't believe that that's best for anybody to live in those type of conditions. But even though I may quote unquote deserve better, am I willing to put in the work and be strategic in getting myself to a better position? I also have to change my mindset, especially if I've been living in this type of environment for so long. There's a certain mindset behind that, especially if you've been in the hood since you were a child. So there's a certain mindset. Same thing with the dating. If you've been dating certain type of men, you've been accepting certain type of things, you've been in certain type of situations, you're gonna have to change your whole mindset when it comes to dating men. Because if you're gonna date a different type of man, it's gonna call for a different type of you. So you keep saying, I deserve better, I deserve better, I deserve better. You could say it all day long, but have you been doing the work on yourself to attract better? Because, and even if you do attract that, can you maintain that? And is that person even checking for you? That's another thing. I deserve better, but is that job checking for me? Is that person checking for me? Is that opportunity checking for me? Because if I haven't changed and I'm still the same person I am now, and those things that I quote unquote feel like I deserve better are not checking for me because they want an involved version of me, then that means that do I really deserve better? Maybe in essence, I do, but you have to truly understand what that means. And if it is true that you really do deserve better, then what is it going to call for? It is usually going to call for a different you. That doesn't mean you have to completely be somebody else. No, you should still be yourself. But a lot of us need to evolve. And a lot of time it starts with our mindset and how we think, how we see ourselves, how we see others, how we see the world. So that's basically what I'm going to say. But I'm going to stop here because I have to go. But I just wanted to basically say those main things. I'm not saying that sometimes people genuinely don't deserve better. Sometimes we do, but we also have to humble ourselves and understand that, and also be realistic that where am I at right now? What is my level at right now? Maybe what I have right now is my level. And I mean I want to accept that, but that's what it is. If you a woman and you don't have boundaries and you don't really love yourself and you have low self-esteem, then maybe that's why you keep attracting these type of men because this is your level. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, it just means this is your level. Or maybe you don't have those issues as a woman, but you're very combative. Maybe you're very passive aggressive, you're very rude, or you're just a hard to deal with type of woman. Maybe you that type of chick like, oh, I don't need no man. I'm independent woman and I don't need no man. I only want a man, and you have this type of energy. A lot of times, certain types of men of a certain caliber are not going to want to deal with women like that because it's a turnoff. What kind of man of a certain caliber is going to want to deal with a woman who's constantly saying, I don't it's to be realistic? Like I said, also that one word me better. What does better mean? Is it actually better? To ask it that too, because sometimes what we think is better is not really better. And if it is better, then am I ready to be prepared to step And am I at that level? Because they may take some work and I know sometimes I could be a little harsh with the way I say things, but sometimes it just needs to be said because sometimes we have to evaluate and really look at ourselves and not be on this, oh, I deserve better, I deserve better, I deserve better, but not really using like common sense and discernment um and basically, yeah, not using discernment in how we go about things. So yeah, but sorry about the live stream and it just cut off like that because something is wrong with my bandwidth when I try to stream. I don't know why it does that. So, yeah, but take care, y'all, and I hope y'all found this to be beneficial because we always have to look within ourselves as well when we're seeking to progress in life. So, take care. Bye.